before we get into what picks we have this episode, let's talk about the MLB, a sport that we probably actually shouldn't be talking about right now in terms of betting because they're in the off season. They actually just went into a lockout. But before that lockout happened, we had some big names that signed, including, I know you're a Mets fan, and you got to be happy about having DeGrom Scherzer as the 1-2 combo whenever baseball starts happening again.
Yeah, Higgins, I used to root for this little podunk team in Flushing, New York, and now all of a sudden I root for a big market team in New York City. Look at this. Two aces, look pretty good, and yeah, you're right. It was an interesting few days there right before the MLB lockout. We saw a lot of big names sign, and a few still on the market like Trevor Story and Carlos Correa. So there will definitely be some good stories for us to follow when the lockout ends.
And the lockout news and the negotiating that was happening last week leading up to the lockout, I think actually covered up a rather big story in the MLB that does have some potential gambling, some reasons that we should be talking about it in terms of gambling, and that is Business Insider came out with an article at the end of November, I think it was on November 30th, claiming that allegedly there were two different versions of baseballs that were being used all MLB season in 2021, unbeknownst to the players and to the teams. And it's saying that there were apparently marquee matchups that were getting juiced baseballs to help make it more entertaining for those that were watching on national television. And some games were getting dead-end balls, games that wouldn't be on national TV, that weren't marquee matchups, smaller market type games. Brett, in terms of betting, because we haven't learned a lot about this, I think there's still a lot more to come out regarding these accusations and everything like that. But in terms of betting, if what's being said is true, then that absolutely impacted over and unders bets, unbeknownst to the bettors that thought that they were playing with the same ball no matter what game was being played.
Yeah, I think you raised some good points, Higgins. I think this is something gamblers should absolutely follow. And maybe if we have another big-time baseball game in a cornfield, you just blindly bet the over because you're getting juiced baseballs, right? But no, seriously, I think, you raised some good points. I'm curious to see what happens with this when all the information comes out.
And I mean, well, let's be honest, juiced baseballs, they've been a topic of conversation almost every offseason in the MLB. A few years ago, the record was set with 6,776 home runs hit in the 2019 season. That broke a record that was set in 2017 and shattered that record by an 11% increase. So that's what started a juiced conversation after that 2019 season. And then obviously we had the shortened 2020 season. Brett, in the article actually, Rawlings, who makes the baseballs for the MLB, they were saying that COVID protocols and the lack of resources and supply chain issues could have been part of the reason why they weren't able to make all of one type of baseball for the MLB season. I think there's just going to be a lot more coming out about this through December, probably. I mean, we're not going to get a lot of news in terms of signings or anything like that with the lockout. I don't think the lockout's going to move much until we get to 2022. Personally, we get closer, and at least in terms of public knowledge of what we know, they'll obviously still be talking. But I think we might be learning more about this two baseball scenario that happened in 2021, allegedly.
Yeah, I'm a little more skeptical, Higgins. I mean, no one's forced to talk right now. They're locked out. No, no one has to do anything. So, I really think we'll be sitting on this for a little bit. And look, I think what's the saying? Something about deadline spurring action, basically.
Yes. Yes.
So, what's the next deadline? Like spring training?
Catchers
So
and pitchers report in
yeah,
February, I
that's
think, is
what
the next
you're
deadline,
right.
basically.
So,
Yeah.
like, all right, I'll see you February 10th, and we'll
Yeah.
catch up then.
And until we get closer to that catchers and pitchers reporting, there's not a lot of pressure on this lockout in terms of sports news reporting. Like, it's not going to be on ESPN every day for us to watch. We'll get the occasional update from Ken Rosenthal and Jeff Passan every once in a while if you follow those guys on Twitter. But, like, we're not going to be getting the day in, day out news of the MLB like we would get with some signings. It's just going to be a dead winter in baseball, it seems.
Yeah, it'll be pretty quiet, Higgins, but